everybody at Racetime Radio. So excited, right? We got a big event coming up at CTMP. Do not want to miss the Chevrolet Grand Prix. And our next guest is here to talk about it. Until I make up just the tips so everybody can hear us. Robert Wickens, always excited to get Robert Wickens back on home soil. And definitely in his Corvette number 36. Ready to rock and roll, and he joins us now on the Zoom line. Robert Wickens, what's going on? How are you?
Doing well, John. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And so we got 2026 underway. We got a pull right off the bat at Long Beach. Let's start there, man. That must have been exciting.
It was. I mean, it was, the results don't lie, but obviously it was a inherited pole position. I'll still take it. It was still a great qualifying. The qualifying in the front row, qualified second. And the pollster got excluded. So we found out late Friday night that we had bumped up a spot. So that was a nice little bit of time surprise. But yeah, it was just an amazing weekend. When you don't drive such a long period of time, last time I was in the car was VIR in Virginia last August. So it was like 7 months before I was even sitting in the sport. I went straight as Long Beach. So I don't know what to expect. The team at DXDT did an amazing job. The Corvette GTD was a dream to drive around there. And just I really picked up how I left off last year at Long Beach. Right? So I think that was a good opening for things to come. Having many years of experience in the car with my motion and control system and everything else, I feel like first practice, we're not really learning that much. We're just going to carry on where we left off. So I'm really looking forward to CTMP here. Again, another race where we're in for Charlotte Williams and the podiums, and I'd like to repeat them again this year.
I wouldn't doubt it. And you're poised to do just that. You did lead laps at Long Beach. 25 laps I read somewhere. These are two. The team led 25 laps. I don't know whether you were in the car or Mason was. Was it you in there for the lead?
Yeah, so I started from the position and then thankfully led a lap of next day before getting the car off to Mason. He led a bit more. And so there was a Safeco restart and things going to get a lot of so it was, I think, all in all, a lot of positives to take from the weekend. I think as a team, as competitors, we're gutted not to leave us in hardware. But, I think it's signs of good things to come.
Absolutely. Then the team headed up to the Luna second. One of those iconic racetracks. I couldn't find the results from that one. Is it because there wasn't any, or were they that good?
Unfortunately, the team had to withdraw from the event because we had a transport truck fire en route for Seika.
That's right.
It's just devastating for the team, for everyone involved. But myself, I was en route on the plane, flying to Monterey, California, and made connection in Phoenix by the time I got back on. And I got notifications and Twitter there and some other stuff that DXDT was involved in the transport fire. And it was, for me, it's time to pick up the pieces and see if we could still make the event. As hard as they tried, it wasn't meant to be. So the next regroup. Unfortunately, the damage was a lot more severe than we had hoped. There was a soon force, but I think it was worse than anyone expected. And just to get around, DXDT racing this weekend, Watkins Glen. And just spending 2 rounds that they had to prepare another event to switch to GTD all of the gear equipment, the transport teams, all that was on. So to kind of start from scratch and start from zero, just shows the strength of the team. And the fact that, yes, we had the results and we were going to say good, but they didn't miss a race, really. So, there's definitely some moments where we were wondering if CTMP was difficult for me. So, here we are, and I'm excited to get back to the field.
Incredible. You say that now. As soon as you said Muller started with, that's great, too. I remember it. I'll tell you, Robert, the older you get, the more you forget. And I'm at that stage now that I'm actually finding myself going, damn, I remember that, but I just remembered it a little too late. got to get them both lined up with my friend. But anyway, CTMP comes in last year. I decent amount of CTMP. Definitely, you got to be excited. You'll be able to take the notes that you got from last year and apply it this year, correct?
Absolutely. I think CTMP was a very steep learning curve for me in the brake system. With the partial electronic braking system, the track's so unique with really very minor brake applications. And that was the first track where, the finesse that I have, the feedback that I get from my hand control system was very unique in the fact that, that track is so much about just dragging it right here, dragging it right there, and not really doing a massive brake and stopping part of all that. So, we fiddled around with some software, with my electronic braking system, and we came up with a brake map and a brake shape that allowed me to have that kind of higher resolution for a lower amount of brake pressure. And that kind of just made me come along. Unfortunately, we tried it for 12 times, so it was a bit of a risk, but we qualified, I want to say, fourth from race. Got the third on the first lap, right around the third for fourth, somewhere around there. For most of the stint, and my teammate last year, Alec Adele, did an amazing job kind of fighting for the podium until the end, and I think we settled for fourth. Which was our season best finish. So, yeah, I think this team with everything going on, we're always so close to success. I think it's better in the corner. And then once we can get kind of left our backs, I think opportunities are others.
Robert, there's been much change involved in the 36-speed this year versus last year, personnel-wise. Are you still dealing with the same three guys, engineers, and all that?
The company is one of the same. Mechanics, the best thing majority are the same, a couple of differences. Other people in the Motorsport series are smaller. There's definitely faces I've seen in other shirts, and vice versa. Some people from DXDT last year are working for the team now this year. My teammate for my races is a former teammate of mine, he's in Corvette. He's doing the full season for DXDT racing, and so he's my teammate now for the sprints as well, where last year I had Alec Adele as my teammate. So, I think a little bit of change, but it's really the foundation of the team that needs some change.
Well, the CTMP weekend that comes up, it's the Chevy Grand Prix at CTMP. It's all on sale now. So, Robert, for fans attending the race, you want the pressure. Seeing you at CTMP is like watching Andrew Ranger at GP3 R in the heart of Quebec. You get spoiled a million different ways. Everybody wants to either get an autograph or say hi to them. I can well imagine that's the way it is when you're on home soil and going out to compete for a race. American fans sort of get up and get your autograph and maybe get a chance to say hi. Is it true that driver autograph part of it?
It's any part of the weekend. The beauty of the IMSA Sports Car Championship and the entire Motorsport Park is your television ticket can get you anywhere but anytime. So, you can come to the DXDT trailer, ask for me anytime. I'm available. You can always come see me from St. Paul. Obviously, there's the autograph sessions that are scheduled, so that would be probably the best chance. But, yeah, you can as close to the action as you want to get. As far as the teams will allow you with the barricades that they've not set up. So, but that's the beauty of this sport. No matter what about North American motorsport in general, it is I feel like the experience that the fan can get for the ticket that they purchase, it is incomparable to anything else in the world, in my opinion, in sports.
So, when you're at the racetrack, you're getting prepared for the big event. You do get practice time, not maybe a lot of it, but maybe go right into qualifying. What's it like at the racetrack, Robert, when you go out for practice? I can well imagine when you come back in, the engineers and everybody are now kicking in behind you, and you're pretty well explaining what everything's doing, and it's a comfortable mix between technology and what Robert's feeling in the car, isn't it?
It is. I always explain it, it's a marriage between the drivers and the engineer, and the engineer has a marriage between the engineers and the mechanic. So you and driver tweaking, it's a full team sport where communication is so important. And building that relationship with your crew, so when you're explaining the understeer that you're having or the oversteer balance that you're having, one, the engineer doesn't overreact or underreact, right? You have such little time that you have to make the right changes to the tire setup, and then from there, the mechanics have to do the right adjustments based on what the engineer tells them to do. So it's truly a team sport problem. We haven't gotten into the pit stops yet, right? I think that's kind of some of just the art and the beauty of motorsport is, the drivers are there driving the car, but it's really behind them that's giving them the product to allow them to achieve the success. So it's definitely a full team sport. The debrief drivers and parents, and as a driver, because of experience, but when I was a young driver, you always feel like you had to say something, right? Yeah. But even if you didn't feel a change in the car, you felt like if you said nothing, you were getting bad feedback. Because you felt you always had to find something. As you get a little older, you realize it's okay, it's actually totally fine. It's actually better if you didn't feel anything, to be honest, and say, sorry, don't steal anything in that direction. So, thankfully, the Corvette GTD students we are is a very lovely race car. It was a dream to drive last year around CTMP, and I don't think it's going to be any different this year. So we're starting with a great foundation, and from there, it's just going to be a little fine-tuning based on the massive setup change. The weather changes from year to year, the track changes slightly from year to year, even just through kind of track degradation of experiencing 3 seasons of weather since the last time you're driven on it. So, that's kind of the crazy facts of motorsport. It's over the same track, and you know it's the same turns, but it's all fractionally different. Here's the tire that gives differently this year, maybe. If it's plus minus 5 degrees Celsius, some of those happens to be something different as well. So it's a full team sport. That's my favorite song.
There was Robert Wickens getting ready to go for July 10th Cricket Club for CTMP, the Chevrolet Grand Prix, the WeatherTech series all coming in. Robert, it always blows my mind with this series. You've got different classes that are running at the same time. So you've got the prototypes that are the bullets, so to speak, and then you've got the GTD class that you're in, Corvettes, and they're pretty as fast as those other guys at times, and probably faster in different parts of the racetrack. And then you've got the slower guys as well. It's like they're trying to negotiate not only a real technical racetrack, but you got all these different classes. You pull out the pass somebody, and you got somebody through the head that's pulled out to pass somebody, only you're only going half the speed that you are, and you're just ramping up. I guess spotters would be huge.
It would be, but you're a track like the entire motorsport part. You can't have spotters in the corner. So it's honestly, we don't have a spotter. We just use our very high-tech Bosch rear camera that has radar detection and everything. So you kind of get notified if there's a fast ray approaching or slow car, because depending on the closing room, you get a different kind of illumination from what car is coming, and then you get lights that are passing on the left or on the right. So there's a lot of cool tools that you have, and they get to the kind of people that Bosch for great, and that's the standard in every GT3 car. But it's a life changer for sure when you're driving in the slow cars, because if you're battling the car in front, you're always kind of like eyes forward trying to pass. Like you said with prototypes, check your mirror 1 second, you don't see anything, and then a second later they're passing you. So it's something you can get caught off guard, and unfortunately those mistakes do happen, but it's the art of kind of coexisting in multi-class racing. You always want to get your head on the slate comfortable, but also there's a lot of responsibility for the prototype drivers to make sure they put themselves in a good opportunity as well.
We see this in racing all the time. The technology that you guys find out in motorsports generally takes time, but we feel it in our passenger vehicles and driving down the road. Based on stuff that you guys learned, could have been a year ago, could have been 10 years ago, but the technology takes filter down. Robert, how's it for you? You know, when you're talking to this curve after devastation, you've thrown the money, you've got over the top, and you're a professional race car driver, but there's no doubt about it. It would be kind of cool to have one of those Corvettes. I know I had one. We kind of did have one of those from Monday to Friday. Is there anything about technology that transfers over and allows you the opportunity to drive a Corvette through the week?
The short answer is yes. If we wanted to, I don't drive a Corvette Monday to Friday. More so from the fact that I'm a father of three. Kids get the whole family in a wheelchair and everything else. I drive a wheelchair since the vehicle. To get the whole family in there in their wheelchair and strollers and all of everything else that comes with the family file. But the beauty of what people developing with Bosch with electronic braking system. I feel like the opportunity is endless. I feel like 20-25 years ago, anti-lock brakes was developed by Bosch, and it was this high-tech system that obviously started in Motorsport. And now you can buy a Bosch ABS system off the shelf and install it into any kind of grassroots race car if you want to remove brakes. And I kind of see this moving in that direction as well, where there is more accessibility like for not, but having the ability to convert your car from a hydraulic braking system to an electronic braking system will be available with an off-the-shelf component, which is what I'm using currently with Bosch. So I think that'll be a great opportunity, and then it filters into the cost, right? Again, with electrification happening more and more with each passing month in the automotive industry, I think electronic braking is only going to become more mainstream. And frankly, in 5, 10, who knows how many years, I bet we don't even see electronic brakes on automotive vehicles anymore. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think it's an exciting time. I think anytime you get to do something that's never been done, like what I'm doing in GT3 with Corvette racing and with Bosch, you have an opportunity to make it a better place, to make motorsport more accessible, and try to frankly revolutionize accessibility, safety in the automotive industry. Right? What I use on my everyday vehicle, I say put whole steps of the manuals that I just built into the car and brake panel. So mechanical just runs attached to each side. It's been unchanged for 20 years. Right? It's the technology there is super simple. And I think it's about time we come up with a more safe method where you can actually drive two hands on the steering wheel at all times. And I think once they've done the racing, that's probably going to be my passion to try and revolutionize that and hopefully try to do it technology. I see it in a way of when you buy your brand new Corvette or any other car, you get to pick what carbon fiber trims you want, the size of wheels you want, the color you want, that you want, the black gutters you want, this, you want that. What can there be a box you can take for the controls of the OEM and actually customize it on the design solution. Right? That way it's a lot more safe. Everything's maybe buttons change hands, but like for me, I can't change the volume of my radio without taking my hand off the accelerator.
Exactly.
Right? So kind of having everything in finger and thumb reach will blow it away.
And we see it, right? It's part of the industry is the research and development. And we get the right ball on the job for figuring stuff like this. So how will you strategize speaking of this? Are you going to go out this race with the same strategy you guys had last year? If there was a strategy that didn't put you on the podium last year, will you use the same strategy, or what's the thought that means to CTMP?
I think it's not a really fluid situation, right? Depending on yellow flags early on or yellow flags during or whatever. The strategy we ran last year was pretty basic one. And with some kind of clever fuel strategy, we got ourselves in position to fight for a podium at the end of the race. ultimately, the car that won the race, the one that's stopping everybody, they just saved lots of fuel and yellow flags and fell in their favor to make it to the end. Were they were the outliers on that strategy. So, you know, you always sometimes take a risk, sometimes you don't. You know, I think last year we were constantly fighting in the top three, so we found that we didn't have to kind of take a put on that's something that hopefully works, right? The car that won actually last year, they were last in the first start from the kind of like an MPS, so they had nothing to lose. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but I know that the DXDT will always run a good race and do good strategy, so I think we're going to have a good shot.
What day will you roll into the facility, races on the weekend? You get there early, and if so, is there opportunity where you can get extra practice, or do they fit it into the spot? Nobody practices unless everybody practices.
Well, there's only official practice starts on Friday of the race weekend. We have to get through, I think there's one practice Friday. I think it's one practice Friday, one Sunday morning, and then one on Saturday afternoon. So, two 60 and 90-minute practice sessions, and that's all you get. And, you know, there's no, you can't just show up on Wednesday and start practicing. It doesn't work like that. So, typically, Thursday is your setup day. The travel, the cars will run out of the track and the trailers and unload and set up the tents. But pit stop and all this stuff down the pit load and that all happens on Thursdays. And then we have general team meetings as well as track walk, which is always an important part of the weekend. Today, I'm trying to looking at onboards from previous years and all the track notes that myself and my teammate Mason have taken over the years. And I think at Motorsports Park, make sure the apex curves are the same, exit curves are the same, and down to the point of, you know, the branding around the track. If it changed slightly, like maybe your braking references might change, maybe this might change. It's all stuff. It's all part of the weekend preparation. And that's what sets you up for success for the weekend.
It's so cool to see you on that podium. I know that's the goal, and your goal is living individual. You're always out there, and it's going to happen. It's just a question of when. We get a couple more opportunities at the CTMP, after VIO, another good Grand Prix, and then things wrap up. In September at Indianapolis, to cap the year. You've also been busy, I believe, with Andretti doing some work with those guys. Is that something that also keeps you happy?
Yeah, most of them are driving. You know, I'm the driver coach for the IndyCar team, so I attend every event, every test. We were just testing at Ohio 2 days ago after running that IndyCar weekend, and yeah, it's definitely busy. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, you know, having the ability to work with tremendous people. There's a lot of stuff I take from, you know, on coaching willpower, from Marcus Erickson, which is crazy to say out loud, right? You know, multiple NFL wins and race wins across all three of them. You know, I'm very fortunate to work with such great drivers. But seeing how they approach the weekend and how they prepare and how they debrief, you know, I'm constantly learning, even from them as much as I'm giving them suggestions and feedback. So it's made me a better driver. I'm very confident of that. And also during the races, being on the understands and seeing how the race team operates, executes races, from strategy, from pit stops, from top to bottom of the whole organization. It's very eye-opening. It's been a real privilege to be a part of, and seeing the success that the team gets and how they improve year on year from tracks where they didn't feel they were as strong as they needed to be. And then we come back a year later and we're right there competing and seeing the level of preparation and the amount of R&D and time that those things are trying to find that performance. So the beauty of IndyCar, sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes it's amazing, but you know, the field play is so small, so competitive. You know, just like this last minute level test, I think first to 10th was like 3 points a second. And that was just a test, and you don't know, like, feel low as you go away to the cars, you don't know engine power settings, right? Like these testing, right? So it's just crazy competitive every day, and it's really it is fun going out there trying to find every 100th of a second, and then show my drivers how to find those 100ths of a second. It's been a real joy, and we've got one win already this year. We also deserve maybe one or two more, but that's just the way the year goes, and we're excited to kind of get the momentum going.
Yeah, you need to talk with driver folks and part of the team, and that's exciting stuff. Got to ask you, what are you thinking about Martha as a Canadian and moving from Toronto to Martha? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think the nostalgia of being in Toronto is going to be interesting. From when I was a kid, it was always the Toronto Indy. The first time I went there was in 1996 on the Fan Friday, right? I might have been Fan Friday every year, like every year. I love that place, the paddock and everything, inside the convention center. It was just such a unique event. But, I think it's a new opportunity for me. It's going to be new for everybody. The track map looks super interesting. It seems like the city of Markham are doing cool feet, and they're really embracing it as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's going to come quick. It's just a one-year challenge spanning the conquer. I've been driving global and been very competitive in Toronto over the years. Hopefully, it'll still be a good battlefield for us at Top of it.
I can't wait. I like the wild-card aspect of the new facility with professional drivers. It's the wild card. It's going to be one of those events. CTMP. Gotta say, you've got a big extra showcase. We're going to be busy guys selling a lot of autographs. I can well imagine, Robert. We're all excited for this one coming up. And to have you in the car, the number 36 Corvette, can't wait. It's going to be out there.
It's always amazing. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, go to CTMP's website. You can get them there. And make sure you come say no. And come see the car, see the air controls. Do whatever you want. It's a family-friendly event. Everyone loves it. It's always a highlight of my year, but I know a lot of drivers as well. The track has so much history. It's such a amazing, high-speed, confidence track. It's a great one to watch the track side, but also the drivers to drive. It's a great experience.
This is going to be Wickens. This is it. You're going to do this kind of run. Is there any room left on the passenger side? Would a little old guy like me be able to legally between the cars and go for a lap with you?
You can fit in. It wouldn't be comfortable. It looks super nice. So it's loads of electronics and other important things sit in the passenger seat. So, we could probably take you in somewhere, but I'm not sure if the IMSA series will.
Probably not. Not like us Canadians. We mold and shape to things, right? But those guys are real sticklers. It's okay. Robert, you can safe travels, and can't wait to see you on July 10th through the 12th for the Chevrolet Grand Prix at CTMP. Good luck, and we'll see you at the racetrack.
Thanks for having me.
That's Robert Wickens. Watch out, that weekend's going to be the one.